Hey guys, just finished watching Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 11, Here I Go Again. This episode was interesting. It was a nice episode. It was really a fun episode going into it, and it was really interesting going how it came out. Now, going into this episode last week, I kind of thought that this could have been maybe a filler episode, and it totally was a filler episode. It really doesn't feel like it's connecting too much to the whole storyline of, dealing with Mullis, dealing with all these different characters, dealing with Damien Dark and his daughter and Sarah Dark. Or even dealing with the Hunter storyline. But at the end of this episode, it still kind of does feel like it could be connected to this episode. I feel like this episode, on its own, it is a filler episode. We'll have to wait and see how the ending of this episode goes through. And I like this filler episode. I think it was really good. I really don't like when they do filler episodes. I really like when they do these episodes. If they're going to do one, you either do it like you get, a legacy cast to come on, if they do a Flash episode where they have the Trickster Mark Hamill appear on there. I think that as a filler episode is okay because you got Mark Hamill and it's fun and it's nice and it's quite fun to have a character like that. And it's a good fun episode, and especially when you have a character like Mark Hamill or an actor like Mark Hamill who a big guest star like that. I think that's when it's really okay to do that. Or obviously the big crossovers, but it's nice when the crossovers all connect to their season. It's really cool with that too. Anything like that I think is kind of fun to do with little things. But even when they do crossovers and they just have like Felicity go on Arrow or Felicity just go on Flash for an episode and come back, it's not always a filler episode, and I think it's really cool for that. So I think I really like the way they're doing this one. This one feels like it could be a crossover. The crossover feels like it's a filler episode. But we'll have to wait and see what the ramifications are for the next episode, because although there's nothing much going into this episode, there's nothing really much that comes out of it other than Zari. This was a Zari episode, and a really big Zari episode, and her becoming closer to the rest of the Legends teams. And I like the way they're doing that in this episode. I think it was really cool the way they do it, and I hope that again it pays off in the next episode. So it's not felt like if you missed this episode, if you cut this episode out, if you downloaded the entire season, if you had the whole thing on Blu-ray, and you took this one episode out, would you still be able to follow the storyline, or would you be missing a completely important part? And I feel like from this episode, you could watch this and you get the idea of the fact that she's now closer to these characters. So I think that's going to be hopefully that's key in the next episode, or it plays a big part into the rest of the season. I think that could be really interesting, and that can be really make sure that this episode is still not a filler episode. So far, I think it's really cool. It was a fun filler episode for what it was. And I think it really was cool doing that, and I think it was interesting the way it's going on. And I think the whole idea of the trailer that they set up for this episode, I kind of thought that Sarah was going to be set up in this time loop, and I think having Zari, a character we don't really know much about, we've only known in this, we've only seen a few episodes with her, in this season type thing. We haven't been, it's not like a character we've known for a long time like Sarah. I think that was really cool with that, and I think the way it was happening was really interesting. And then the ending of this episode was just mind-boggling. It was really cool. I didn't see that coming at all. So let's get into the list here. The first thing we've had was Zari trying to hack in the ship, and she finds you, but Sarah won't let her. And we end up finding out at the end of the episode that everything that happened was all part of her simulation, because Gideon ended up taking her consciousness and putting it into her own simulation, and the only way for her to win the simulation to find a loophole in time was for her to team up with the Legends. I think that's really going to be cool to see that. It's going to be interesting to see, because there was a lot going on. We find out later on that Sarah doesn't want her to hack the timeline and find a loophole in the timeline, because if she does, then Sarah will want to use it to save her sister. And I don't see they're not going to do that to affect Arrow. I would be so surprised if they do that. Although I think it would be fun is if everything gets to like season 10, if Arrow hits season 10 and this gets to season 8 or 9 or whatever, and then we have Sarah being like, that's it, I'm fed up, I can't handle it, I need to go bring Laurel back. I think waiting years like that and having all that stuff to reset time and then doing that, I think then it could be interesting to do that. We would have had a bunch of seasons without Laurel, and I think then bringing her back, but somehow making it so that everyone on Arrow still remembers all that time without her, but then all of a sudden she's back. I think that could be cool. Maybe not resetting as if she never died, but something as if bringing her back. But I don't want to see that until like season 8 of Legends and season 10 of or whatever. I mean, season like run 3, 6, season like 8, season 10 of Arrow and season like 7 of Legends. I think that could be really good for when they if they could bring back our Laurel type thing, or not bring her back, just pick her out of time and plop her in right now into it. So everyone on Arrow has spent the last dozen years, last 5 years-ish or more without their Laurel, and then all of a sudden she's back. And I think that could be cool to play with that in the future, but right now, no way. So, yeah, we definitely have that. That's really going to be cool to see how that goes, especially at the end when Sarah kind of says, yeah, sure, we'll help you, create a loophole in time because it's my future, not my past, and we can't mess with the past, but we can mess with the future. So I think that's going to be cool to see how that goes and see how that affects Sarah. Seems like she's up for it, but how is she going to process that emotionally as she kind of deals with it, allowing to save Zari's brother, but not saving Sarah? How is she going to saving Laurel? I think going back in time and saving Laurel from dying. I think that's really going to be to be fun to see how that goes with that and how she's going to deal with that emotionally and how she's going to deal with that and also with her relationship later on that we find out about that we know about Ava type thing. How is that going to go with that relationship? I think that's really going to be fun to see that. So Zari blows up the ship and she finds out she's in a loop. That's really cool. And then Nate is the only one who believes her at the beginning. And at the beginning, it's not kind of sure whether he believes her, and then eventually he's really easy to believe, to convince and stuff. She gets it. They find out someone on board is causing the explosion or something like that, and it's not. And then Roy and Maya are easily cleared. They find out Sarah's talking to Ava in secret, or not in secret, just in hiding a bit on the jump ship and type thing, and that's really cool for that. And there's all this stuff, and Sarah refuses to kind of just acknowledge that Ava clearly has feelings for her, and even to ask her out or anything like that. So that's really going to be cool. Like I said, to play with that, how with them going forward with the idea of trying to save Ava's brother, but not saving, but Sarah not being allowed to kind of save her sister. How is she going to play with that, and how is that going to affect her relationship with Ava, and how that's going to mix up with all that? I think that'll be fun to see that. So I think that's really going to be cool to see where that all goes with all that. I think that really is interesting to see. I think it could be fun to see all those different things and how that could affect each other's relationship. Let me find out. Then Sarah crushes Tiny Adam and Zari type thing. That was quite funny. Cool with that. Then there's a montage. Zari ends up having that montage where she's kind of just playing around. It's like, yeah, I'm in a loop. Who cares? It's never going to end. Let me just have fun and do whatever I want, eat whatever I want, because it's a loop type thing. And she puts on the hawk mask, which I think I'll try and put it on here. I saw a picture of her from behind the scenes with it on, and that got me thinking, whoa, what does that mean? The hawk mask. Obviously they just had it on set and they just were she was able to use it and all that. But is that an extra hawk mask? Did someone leave one on behind that I don't remember from the season 1? Where, do the Hawks not have their mask? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I remember them at the end of season 1 flying off with their masks on. So did they have multiple masks? How does that work? Do they take that out at a time? Is it a duplicate? What's going on? Is one of them no longer being Hawkman or Hawkgirl? I think showing that mask was a cool nod. It was cool, obviously a cool idea, but it just didn't hint at anything. I would have liked to have seen it hinted. Also, I would have preferred if that, instead of being a Hawk mask, which to me sets off so much confusion as to where the characters are that we've seen already in the show, if they had just done it as Dr. Fate's mask. We know the prop that exists out there. It was in Smallville, then it was again on, they saw the helmet was also on, was originally probably created for Smallville because he was a character on Smallville, and then they saw the helmet is actually as a cameo in the first episode of Constantine. So it's somewhere in the Warner Brothers archive. They could just use that, and that would have been way cooler, seeing that and teasing that he's around. I think that could be really cool if it was just a small tease type thing. Even if they left it in the background without her wearing it, but prominently in the background so that you can clearly see it type thing, but not really the fact that she wears it. Or maybe she picks it up and goes, huh, and then puts it away type thing. And doesn't put it on type thing. I think that could have been cool. Because obviously you can't have her putting it on because it's the helmet of Naboo. But I think it would have been cool to see that be that Easter egg. Maybe an Easter egg for that. It would have been funnier to see that. So this Hawk thing kind of gets me all kinds of questions like, where is it? Whose is it? Is it Hawkman's? Hawkgirl's? Where are they? What are they up to? What have they been doing? I think that really would be cool to see that. Although I really don't want those answers just yet. But I mean, it would be fun to see if that how did they get, why is there still a mask on the ship? That would just be an answer to a question I'd have. I don't know if I'd want to revisit those characters, just because I prefer this whole show to be constantly changing. I feel like it's done now, time to change it, and with Firestorm leaving and obviously Kid Flash coming back, that's really going to be cool to mix it up. So it would be cool to see where they are, but just later on, maybe, like I said, wait till season 8 or 9 or whatever, wait a few seasons definitely, so that it's been a while and we can see what they've been up to. But otherwise, let's keep going and get new characters like this and constantly have new characters. So this is really going to be cool. And then we find out that Zari tries to kill herself with the flintlock. The flintlock doesn't work. I kind of wanted to see what would happen if she had done it. And I guess the not working was part of Gideon's plan, and because Gideon was controlling her type thing, that's why it wasn't working. But part of me was kind of wondering, what if it had worked? Would it have worked, or would she have just kind of woken up again in the time loop? I guess she would have just woken up again in the time loop, or would Gary's time loop device had reset from that moment? I don't know. That's why Gideon just kind of not let it work type thing, I guess. But that was kind of funny with that. Then we find out that Gary's in the garbage, and then Rory, lets him out and type thing, and breaks the loop machine, stopping the loop, and then they only have 5 minutes to break the bomb, and obviously that's just not really. It was interesting with the whole 5 minutes for the bomb, but it really there's no real worry about it because we're only episode 11 of 23 or 20 type thing, so we're nowhere near anything big like this going to happen. But it really was fun seeing that, and then Zari then just sacrifices herself, which ends up giving Gideon what she wanted. They think to bring Zari closer to the team, and by making her live with everyone more and more and repeat an hour and over again, she was able to make Zari feel more for the team and stuff. I think that's really cool with that, and it was kind of fun at the end of it when she got out and she was able to prove to everyone that she was able to prove to herself that Gideon's knowledge was pretty accurate, although it wasn't entirely accurate, but it was very easy, very close to the characters she was able to predict, based on what she's observed over everyone living on the jump ship type thing, the Wave Rider. And that was really fun with that, when she was able to prove all that. It would be cool to see if there was any kind of abnormality, like things that Gideon got wrong about characters. Maybe Rory hadn't finished his script, and where was he at, or little things that maybe she got off, and we'll see if that happened, but I guess we won't get that. So it's all fake, it's all Gideon just making Zari closer to the legends. And then at the end we got the awesome scene of Kid Flash being found by Hunter, Rip Hunter, and stuff. That's really cool. I think that was a really cool addition at the end of the episode. That kind of got me thinking about the whole Hunter storyline, how he's locked up by his own time bandit, time crew, forget the name of them, but the whole time crews, and that they're going after Time Masters and stuff. So it really is going to be fun to see where things go with that, and I feel like we haven't been talking about the whole Rip Hunter storyline. I'm not sure if the actor is busy on another show. I feel like he must be or something. That's why we haven't seen him in a while, because we haven't seen him since episode 3 or something. I forget when he even got locked up by the Time Bureau, and when are they going to... and what's going to happen with that. And I really kind of forgotten about that storyline. Kind of makes me feel like I got to go back and watch episode 3. I feel like there's some stuff that I'm kind of missing that we haven't been touching on. We've been going on in we started off on one story, and then we completely derailed and went off on another story, and now I don't remember what's going on with the first story since episode 11, and we haven't touched that story since episode 3 type thing. So I don't know, it feels a bit weird. Hopefully we get some kind of memory jog. Maybe someone can remind me in the comments or something, because I can't decide to remember whether or not is Rip Hunter going to be the bad guy type thing. Is he the bad guy? I mean, obviously he's not the bad guy, but are they going against Rip Hunter type thing? Is he kind of an antagonist? Is he a good guy? Are we supposed to root for him? Where are things going? I mean, we had him just as a bad guy all last season, or most of last season with the Legion of Doom, so I feel like we're not going to do that. He's probably not a bad guy, so I'm trying to figure out what side is Kid Flash on. I mean, Kid Flash is probably on his own side, he's good, but if Rip Hunter is doing something wrong that the Legends don't agree with, is he going to use Kid Flash without telling him the full story? What's going on? I really don't remember where things are going with Rip Hunter. Yes, I'll try and just rewatch it if I can, if I have time. But otherwise, I just feel like it's kind of annoying that they did that they had to go and separate two storylines and just leave another storyline that's dangling there only for us to forget it. Did they do that on purpose? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If there are things that they wanted to do that on purpose, there's a reason for it. Otherwise, I just kind of wish that they would have kept one storyline just to keep us reminded to where things are going. Now, at the end of this episode, beginning into this episode, and the recap that they always do in front of the episode didn't remind us of anything of the Rip Hunter thing. Didn't remind us that he's escaped, or didn't remind us that why he was locked up in the first place, which I can't remember. So I don't know. I just would have liked to have seen more about that, maybe in the recap, or just that kept those stories all in line and not gone off on another story. I think that would have been better to do it that way to keep us keep it fresh in mind. But we'll have to wait and see. He probably did it for a reason, so we'll have to wait and see where things go with all that. So, all in all, looks like a fun episode. This episode was quite fun. I really like this episode. Again, like I said, it was kind of a filler episode. We'll have to wait and see how this is going to affect from going on into the show. Hopefully, it does. I think it will be with how things are going to go with the rest of the season. I think having Zari, giving her more connection to the team is quite interesting to that. All in all, yeah, it really was an interesting episode. It was an okay, and this is kind of, as far as filler episodes go, I think this is the just acceptable. You got the acceptable line, and this one is just about right at the acceptable. Anything under this would not be acceptable as a filler episode. I think this one is just on the line of acceptable, because it does feel like could have some connection to the season storyline, and at the same time, it really was a good episode on its own. It really was a fun episode, and the story was really good and compelling and really interesting to watch. And it was very fun to watch, very well written. So on its own, like I said, it was kind of just meets the bar of criteria to pass as an okay. It's a filler episode, but I'll let this one slide because of those criteria that it meets, type of thing. So. Other than that, definitely can't wait to see next week's episode. It looks like there's some sort of Pirates thing, a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean, or a Pirates of the Caribbean reference in the trailer, which is interesting since Warner Brothers doesn't own that. But yeah, really going to be fun to see that and see who we get from there. And I'm not sure. I don't know any characters from the DC comics who are from the pirate, era, like the 18th century and all that stuff, or whatever year they're going back to in this next episode. But I think it could be fun to see that. I mean, there was. The Knight, remember in the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, and the Knight type of thing, so maybe it could be someone of those characters. We'll have to wait and see if we get someone else from the back, but hopefully we can. And if they're going to go back to it to the medieval time like that with the pirates time and all that, hopefully we can get someone some DC comic reference from back then as a character. So who knows? It would be fun to see that. And I hopefully we get to see Constantine back. If I'm not mistaken, I did hear some rumors that he should be back, and it really is going to be fun. So all in all, I can't wait to see where things go with this. Kind of disappointed though that we got the ending of the Kid Flash teaser at the end of this episode, but yet there doesn't look like he's going to be involved in that episode. So hopefully that episode again doesn't look like it looks like a filler episode on the face of it, because they're just going back to another time. But hopefully they also meet up with Kid Flash there. So it doesn't look like though, unless they use the only scenes without him in the trailer. I don't know why they would show him in the trailer, even if he was in it for a little bit. Hopefully he's not just at the end of this episode, then the end of the next episode, and then in one full episode later on, and that's it. And, so they can say he's in 3 episodes, but he's in one scene at the end of multiple episodes, and then one full episode. Hopefully he actually becomes a member of the team, and actually have him become a full-time legionnaire or legend for season 4 going on. I think that could be really cool. And like I said, I would love to see Thea become a full-time legend, but I don't think we'll see that anytime soon. We'll have to wait and see now that we have Kid Flash. So all in all, it's really going to be fun to see where things go with this. I really hope the Kid Flash is prominent in next week's episode, is full in the entire episode. Hopefully they just use the few scenes without him, but based on the trailer, it doesn't look like he's really going to be in much of the episode next week, which is really disappointing. And I don't know why they wouldn't use that to advertise that. I mean, the people who are watching Flash and not watching Legends be like, oh, I really like Kid Flash, and then they see that he's on Legends, like, oh, well, now I'm going to start watching Legends, and then they pick up right here in Legends. I think that would be great. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, to still advertise, to remind people that this is all one, these are all connected, the Flash, Arrow, and things like that. Other than the crossovers, this is still connected. I think this would have been a good opportunity to do that with this trailer, and I think it would have done very well, reminding people, maybe someone who forgot to watch this episode of Legends, or hasn't watched it yet, but doesn't mind spoilers for the next episode, and watches the trailer and goes, oh yeah, what's his face is going to be in it, and that would get them even more excited to jump back onto the show. So I don't know why they didn't show him in the next episode. It gets me disappointed that he's maybe not in it as much, or a lot, so it's kind of disappointing for that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. Where do you think things are going from here, and what do you think of the episode, Season 3, Episode 11, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.